It's time for your weekly update, so let's get it. Quick market update. With the Fed announcing a rate hike last week, I'm getting asked how this will affect mortgage interest rates and how it all works together. Now, let me tell you that when the Fed raises rates, it has to do with short-term lending. Think, bank-to-bank lending or, credit cards, HELOCs, car notes, things like that. This does not directly affect mortgage interest rates because almost every mortgage is 30 years, which is obviously long term. Now, the thing that has caused the most issues with mortgage interest rate spikes is inflation. The more out of control inflation is, the higher the rates go because investors know that inflation erodes the power of the dollar, so they offset the anticipated loss of revenue with higher mortgage interest rate. Now let's look at a quick snapshot at where we are and what's really happening. The only shot that we have at seeing rates really drop is if we see true signs of a weakening economy and labor market. And although there are a couple small points, here and there that are indicating that, the reality is both are strong and healthy right now. The idea that we would be in a recession right now, which is what most experts anticipated at the beginning of the year, it's just not happening. No matter what, the bond market and, the reality is that most people are out there spending money and living life despite the higher cost and higher rates. And as long as that is happening, we're not going to see rates fall anytime soon. Now, what am I excited about? The cost of waiting tool. We all deal with it in today's market. People saying, I'm going to wait until rates drop. I'm tired of losing out of houses. My brother's uncle's wife's dog sitter said to wait because the housing market's going to crash. While some have legitimate reasons to sit on the sidelines and not to choose to buy right now, most people are being guided by misinformation and fear. The cost of waiting is a tool that I provide my clients to show them real numbers on them buying a house today, in 6 months, 1 year down the road, and so on and so forth. And it takes into consideration housing appreciation and the mortgage amortization loss during that same time period. The whole idea is to bring information to the client so they can make informed decisions based on facts. It helps bring everything into perspective. And sometimes when they see that if they wait a year or two, it's going to cost them $20,000 to $30,000, it makes them think twice. What book am I reading? The Boys from Biloxi. Now, while I tend to, gravitate towards business and self-improvement books, when I have a long road trip, I love a good thriller novel, and there's a reason why John Grisham is an icon. Now, The Boys from Biloxi isn't my favorite of his, but it's got all the classic twists, all the turns of a Grisham legal thriller. What am I watching? Well, Big Brother is starting up this Wednesday night. And while I literally have never seen an episode of the previous 24 seasons, I'm being conned into this one. I mean, if it's been around for that long, it can't be that bad, right? Well, I don't know. Wish me luck. What am I listening to? This is a fun one. I played in a golf outing last week, and we blasted classic rock the entire time. Literally was probably more of a karaoke party than a round of golf. But when you have Pat Benatar followed up by some Motley Crue, things are bound to get a little wild. What article am I reading? Mortgage interest rates can be beyond confusing for the average consumer, let alone me, being in the mortgage industry. With the Fed raising the Fed funds rate, most clients think that automatically means that mortgage interest rates will follow suit. Well, as we discussed earlier on the market update, it's just not true. Here's an article from Bankrate talking about how the Federal Reserve and the rate hike will affect the mortgage interest rate. Hey, and lastly, if you aren't a part of our private realtor social media marketing group on Facebook, let me know and I'll get you hooked up. It's not spammy stuff, no selling, just real life tips to help you level up your social media game. We'll see you next week.